This here is a self-portrait I took on a warm spring day in the mountains. And in today's episode, I'm taking you with me on this fine day. I went on a little solo hike with my film camera to practice some film photography and just document this season here in Innsbruck. It's going to be a relaxed one. I hope you enjoy coming along. Since moving to Innsbruck 2 years ago, one of my personal goals, a little side quest in life if you will, has been to spend more time outdoors. I've always been a bit of an outdoorsy boy, but felt like it was not enough yet. However, last year I was out quite a bit, and this year I've already been doing pretty well, I think. But there is always more to explore, and so on a fine sunny day in May, I decided to go out on a hike. I took a bus to a place just outside the city where the trail begins. Before even getting to the mountain though, I had to get out the camera because the bus casually dropped me off at this view. And so that is how the first shot of the day was found. I think this spot here is such a lovely viewpoint with some nice layering of the foreground with the house and the car, the midground with the city sort of hiding in the valley, and then the background which is simply the massive rock behind and the sky. I think these elements just work together really nicely from this viewpoint, and so I'm quite happy with the start. The place I decided to go to is a bit different to where I usually tend to go. Normally, I like to drive out into the countryside, maybe even somewhere a little higher, to hike up some higher mountains that are a little off the beaten path because I love the feeling of being one of only a few people on the trail. But on this day, I decided to hike up a route that is just outside the city, which means there's more people around. However, there's supposed to be a little lake up on the mountain, which intrigued me and had me so curious that I ended up choosing this hike for this morning. The hike hadn't even begun yet, but this view was just too inviting to not shoot, with the house in the foreground and the very typical Austrian postcard view in the background. Check out the view though. Whew. I think we're getting closer to the actual start of the hike. Still not quite sure where we are. Alright, I think we are correct. Go, this is our trail. Alright, we're like 10 seconds into the trail, but look at how saturated the greens here are. I think it'd be quite nice to get a composition with this big tree on the left side, this green stuff in the middle, and that over to the right. Alright, so we're gonna have to keep the hands quite still. Here's the first shot on the trail, and I think it's alright. The lighting is very pretty, and it's a nice addition to a series documenting the trail, I think. However, as a standalone photo, it might be a little boring. I'm not sure. And with that, shot number 3 has been fired, and we're off to a decent start, I'd say. I was thinking of getting some shots straight ahead because from here on I think the trail is going to be pretty much like this for 2.5 hours until we get to the actual lake. So I might not be able to find that much diversity in shots. That's why I thought I'd start shooting before we actually get to this landscape here. I'm getting hungry already, and I'm thinking it'd be cool to eat up there, but how do I get there? Is this stable? How old is this?
It's a little shaky. Seems a little too old for my taste. And it's quite wobbly up there. Right, let's just find a nice tree to sit on. That looks alright. Right, we haven't been hiking for long yet. I'm already hungry. I can't hike once my belly is empty. So, break number one. And I mean, let's be honest, hiking is just cool because you get to eat in cool places. Sandwich number 1 of 2, and then I've got a special lunch for when we get to the top. Wow, there are so many ants here. Not as comfortable as I thought. Let's hope they don't crawl up my butt crack. It is time for my classic hiking sandwich. A carrot sandwich is what it's called in the shop, with Austrian Liptar, no idea what that is in English, with radishes. Alright, it was a good snack number 1. Let's check no ants on my camera. Good lunch spot, thank you. Let's get back to the trail down there and continue up the mountain. We've got a long way to go. Oh wow, so much green already. I just realised we haven't actually talked about my setup for today yet. I've brought the Pentax, but as you might be able to see, it's not my usual Pentax. You might know me as the Pentax K1000 guy. However, that camera is sadly slowly dying, like many of my cameras recently. I don't know why. Well, they're getting old, I suppose. In my time in Japan, I was actually looking for a replacement. And in the last 2 weeks, I was in a camera shop in Onomichi, and I found this here, a Pentax Spotmatic F. And it was looking a little rough, a little dirty, but I tested out the shutter speeds, it seemed all fine. And so when I asked for the price, the salesman looked at it and said, it's a bit dirty. In this condition, I'd say 6,000 yen. And so that's about, what, 40 bucks maybe? And I thought, well, that's a decent deal. Let's risk it. Let's go get it. And so I've been trying this out. I've got one set of negatives shot already, so I can see on the negatives it should be fine. I haven't actually scanned them yet, so I haven't actually seen proper photos, but I've seen the negatives. I think it should be fine. So I thought, let's shoot another roll today. And now let's continue walking because I'll stop talking. Light ahead. Huh. I thought there'd be something here. Oh wow. There we go. I'm hoping that we have only the trees as the background, as a dark backdrop, and then this here as a foreground, with the line about at the upper thirds.
Here's the result, and luckily my idea for the composition worked out. The shot concentrates on just the bushes and the trees at the back and completely excludes the sky, which I think adds some structure to the composition by limiting the elements and shapes. I love how the lighting looks on the bushes overall, pretty happy with this. Right after that, I reached a confusing set of signposts. My basic orientation was convinced that I had to go straight, but on the signpost it appeared that I needed to take the path on the left. However, now looking back at the signs, I think I just confused some names of the places, and the lake I was looking for was simply not signposted.
But that's down. I don't know. I'll trust my gut instinct. I don't know if that's a good or a bad idea. We'll find out. We're going the one route that does not have a sign that says where it's going. The secret route, you could say. It's all just taking... That's it. No more water left. Okay. Oh, first patches of snow.
Bitte.
Ah, danke schön.
Bergaufwärts vorfahren.
Danke. Viel Spaß noch. I'm going vertical so that I get that tree and the clouds and the sky above, so that we have that nice blue to white contrast. I'm choosing F8 by the way so that I can get the mountain and the trees in focus, in case you were wondering.
This one turned out alright, I'd say. It's not special, but it's kind of cute. The mountain and the clouds look beautiful, and I like how the trees in the foreground simply add some framing.
Let's hope that's any good. Okay. Huh. Lovely. A view of the city. Okay, it's a very simple, maybe boring shot. I'm not sure if it's boring.
Honestly, I think it isn't even that boring. I actually like how simple the composition is, with just a few elements filling up the photo. The mountains, the clouds, the blue sky, and then the trees popping up into frame from below. I think the shot isn't exciting in any way. It's not great or anything, but somehow it is still quite pleasing to just stare at. Then, before we continue, I want to take a moment to thank the continued sponsor of my channel, Squarespace. When anyone ever asks me how or where to make a website, I always just send them to Squarespace. It is, in my opinion, such a good service that combines easy and intuitive usage with creative freedom. Over the years, they've created this incredible product that allows me to make a website intuitively without any coding knowledge, while still giving me creative freedom to play around with designs and the character of the website. I myself have been using Squarespace for 5 years now, and it's been great and seriously constantly getting better. I use my website to showcase my projects that are either completed or currently still in progress. However, you can actually use Squarespace for so much more than what I do. You can make a simple blog, but you can even make an entire online shop, site for bookings if you're a freelancer, pretty much anything. You can start off with one of the many templates and then customize their layout and design. Alternatively, you can also use their AI tool, which lets you create a website by basically describing it. But whatever you do, you get so much freedom to just change and customize everything so easily thanks to their drag and drop editing system called Fluid Engine. You can head to squarespace.com for a 14-day free trial, and then when you're ready to launch your website, you can go to squarespace.com/TeoCrawford to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Thank you so much to Squarespace for continuously supporting the channel and my work here. I really appreciate it.
We'll see. Ooh. Oh wow, that's a lot of books there. By the way, I found out that this is a bit of a Austrian thing, or maybe Austrian, German and Swiss, but not in France. It's to have a cross at the top of the mountain, in case you were wondering what this is. Thinking of getting a shot. Oh, those trees could work as a subject. Just get a bit closer. Yeah, let's try that. Nice. Hopefully we get some pretty blues. Have a good feeling.
Indeed, the blues do look very pretty here. I love the play with the blue sky and the puffy clouds. They make for a beautiful backdrop, and I think the two trees, while not amazing, do work somewhat, at least, as a subject.
Is this it? Is this what I've been looking for? I have very high hopes for that sign there. Oh, quite like this frame.
So this shot, I think, is like a better version of the previous shot. Instead of the trees that kind of work as a subject, this signpost job in the composition is very clear. It is clearly the subject in the center of the frame that anchors the shot, and from there the eye can wander off to the side and enjoy the scenery.
What do we have? Come on. Give me the view. Yes. There we go. Turns out my gut instinct was correct. So I'd really like to get a photo here, but the lighting is just quite terrible, to be honest. I wonder if I can drink that water because I'm really thirsty and I don't have any water left. If I decide to not drink from the lake, I'm just going to have to eat some of this snow. Oh, look at that cute bench, if you can even call it that. Alright, this is the spot, the lunch spot. So there's waves there. There must be something either in the water or water coming into the spot. Oh, there's like little frogs. What the heck? Hello. What are you guys doing here? They make like really cute noises. Hello. Just hanging out. Having a chill day.
So I had underestimated how high the temperature was going to rise on this day. This resulted in me drinking up all my water just on the way up. This usually isn't an issue because most of the places that I hike usually have some natural source of water where I can refill my bottle. However, this hike somehow didn't have any, and so I came up here in the hope to find some water, which I did, but I decided to get some snow instead.
Let's fetch some snow. How did I drink so much already? This and stuff. Problem is, this is a thermos bottle, so not the best for melting snow. Oh. Oh. Well, I'm not as thirsty anymore, so that's good. Oh. Pity that the lake doesn't look very drinkable, and there's no rivers here. Why are there no rivers here? Where does this water come from? Is it all just the snow and the rain?
Anyway, the cold snow was better than nothing, and so now that I had found a great spot, it was time for a lunch break with a view.
Some leftover lunch, no, dinner, from yesterday.
Come una giornata soleggiata, gli occhi d'una figlia appena nata, come il cielo pieno di stelle, penso a tante cose belle, come il tramonto in estate, le ore più felici passate, quando sei bambino a Natale, come il sole dopo il temporale.
Here's a photograph I took of my lunch spot, and I think this shows quite nicely the incredible view that I came for. This is basically the shot that I had in mind. That was the main reason to choose this hike. However, sadly, the lighting was just not particularly good, but I took the shot anyway. I suppose this exact photo but during sunset would look incredible, so I guess that's a quest for another day. When I first got to the lake I was alone, but it only took a couple minutes for some people to join me here, and as time progressed more and more people arrived who had also made their way up here to enjoy the scenery.
A vision of the sun that slowly rises.
I like this shot. It's quite minimalistic and simply shows the good times up here in the mountains where one can just sit and enjoy the view.
Colors of the trees of late September.
This shot shows the lake and the mountains at the back with a group of ladies in the foreground. One of the women from the group was so kind and filled some of her extra water into my bottle of snow. I had asked them whether the nearby hut was open, but they said it's closed, and so then she offered to help me out, which I'm very grateful for. some time spent at the lunch spot and getting some shots here and there, I decided to head just a little further up the mountain to see what there is behind the next hill. So here I found a pretty neat spot to explore.
I realised this camera has a self-timer, and I've just been taking some video self-portraits and thought, well, actually, why not try it on film? So here we go, let's see if it works.
Here's the result, and it's alright. I like the sunny mountain vibes here, but the composition is a bit off, sadly. I feel like I'm standing a little too close or a little too far from the camera. Maybe a little closer to the camera wouldn't have been a bad idea, so that my head fills the negative space above a little. That, at the moment, I think is a little too much in this composition. On the other hand, with some cropping, I could also just embrace the negative space. Here's a slightly cropped version that I think feels more balanced, and then here is a bit of an extreme crop that does not feel balanced. It instead completely embraces the negative space and relinquishes all balance, but I think it looks pretty cool. I like these actually. This might be a decent solution.
So I think that self-portrait worked, even though I'm afraid I'm not too big of a fan of the composition I got, and I'm unsure, but I think I have only about 1 or 2 shots left, depending on how efficiently I loaded the camera. And so I thought, why not try to get 1 or 2 more self-portraits in this area, because we've got a lot of snow, it looks pretty cool, and that will probably be the end, and then we head down. But I thought, how about finishing off in this nice little private space that I found on the mountain. So I was looking at this patch of snow thinking this is actually pretty cool. So the sun's over there. Yeah, we don't want to backlight this because that's too harsh. We'll front light it and maybe we'll come from over there somewhere. And I'll try to stand in this patch of snow. How about I try standing on that thing there? In which case
you're sure to find a snake. Don't let the serpent change your pace. Get yourself moving and you'll be okay. There's a dream weaver that won't let me alone.
Here's the result, and I like this one a lot. The location is pretty cool with this little bowl and the patch of snow, but I think making this self-portrait was a good move because just the location would be a little boring, I think, but positioning a person in the composition puts into perspective how big everything around me actually is.
Oh, no, that's the end. Can't turn it any further.
And so with that, I'd finished the roll and got another hike in so early in the season already. I hope you enjoyed joining along. I've recently been thinking a lot about ways to integrate my love for the mountains in my videos. I mean, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I like to share the beauty of the Austrian Alps with you, but I'm never quite sure how is the best way to combine it with photography and these videos. So this video is a bit of a simple vlog, I guess, and if you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Also, let me just take this opportunity to do my YouTuber's best practice. If you've enjoyed this and would like to see more, do check if you've already subscribed to the channel, because if you haven't yet, hitting that button actually helps me out a lot. Anyway, that's it for today. Before saying goodbye, I would like to say a massive thank you to the lovely people supporting me and my work on Patreon. Thank you so much to each one of you. If you're interested in Lightroom presets, editing tutorials and stuff like that, you can check out my page via the link in the description. Also, I have a print shop in case that is of interest to you, also in the description. With that said, I hope to see you again soon. Until then, goodbye.